Yikes. I hope you guys are well. I'm posting this video to force myself to post a video because I have been trying for the last mm, since the beginning of the year really to try to start to compile a video, but compiling a video has not been the easiest to do simply because I have some new goals that I wanted to let you guys now at least now let you guys in on, because I think the way that I create videos needs to change ever so slightly because I have new goals. So I'll talk a little bit about what those goals are, and then I'll talk a little bit about why Mariah Carey has anything to do with this. So basically, what happened last year is that I decided late in the year that I was going to stop trying to be the most relevant person on YouTube and do what is authentic to me and to my skill set. And also I wanted to, and actually it came out of reading this book called 10x is easier than 2x. Basically, it's a great book. You should read it if you're into, self-help and all that stuff. But I decided that it was time for me to really focus in on the best video that I've done, which was Beyonce's Voice is Changing, and do it even better. And I believe that we accomplished that. We did Beyonce's Voice is Changing, Part 4, Renaissance, and I never thought there was going to be a Part 4. We ended up doing it. I love it. Um, it was hard work for me and Yaroslav, who edited it. But we did it. And it's like we did that, and it's like, and when I would do like these high caliber videos, I always you'd want to do better. But I realized, like, especially at least right now, I can't necessarily, be doing those every single week like I would want to. However, I can still continue to do them. And so in the spirit of continuing to do better and better and better, I decided that in 2024, I really wanted to challenge myself. And what that challenge looks like was doing singers that I don't know as well as Beyonce or as Brandy. So for example, like for those of you that have been sticking with me for a while, in 2020 we did a whole, like we broke down every song on Brandy's seventh album, B7. And then for Beyonce, we've done Beyonce's Voice is Changing. So it seems like I'm a person that likes to dig deep and do a lot of focus on people. But I knew that I wanted to start to venture into areas that I wasn't as familiar. And Mariah Carey came up. Mind you, when I did Beyonce's Voice is Changing Part 1, people were already asking me to do Mariah Carey. And I wanted to, and this is where where I was recording videos and it was hard for me to kind of explain what was going on. But basically, I was having a lot of blocks ever since then on actually tackling Mariah Carey. The main one being that I just don't really know her as well as I do Beyonce. For that, I wanted to make sure that like whenever I do stuff, I want to make sure that I give content that is accurate. Like if I'm gonna say something, it better be accurate. And I think I've done a good job of that so far. But I realized that philosophy has kind of clipped my wings a little bit. And so I decided to kind of let go of the philosophy, at least in terms of allowing that to determine what I talk about, and venture into areas where I don't know as much and just do the research. But I realized, and like doing that research is actually a lot harder than I thought. And so what was hard for me was not just the fact that I didn't know Mariah Carey as well, but also the fact that Mariah Carey just has such a vast catalog, right? Now, kind of touching on my goals for a sec, because I wanted to focus deeper on artists, I decided for 2024 that I wanted to focus on 4 artists. Um, am I going to mention all the artists right now? Not necessarily. But my goal was for every quarter I did like a large scale video And of course I would do videos in between, but I realized that in order for me to do that long scale video, especially, with the YouTube strategist in me, I wanted to make sure that every single artist that I do, that there are other videos that are focusing on other parts of their journey. And I do it in my style. So it's like the vocal talk throughs, it's the run breakdowns, it's like all of that stuff. And I realized that, I didn't necessarily have that with Mariah Carey. And so doing the research, would involve creating these types of videos. But I found myself getting overwhelmed because Mariah Carey's journey, is a longer journey than Beyonce's. And also Mariah Carey's vocal stylings and, her vocal evolution is very different than Beyonce's. Of course, like, because everyone's voice is different. And especially when it comes to the way that Mariah Carey performs now, it's definitely very different than it was when she first started out. And it also involves some very obvious pre-record singing that people, they either like or they dislike. For me, I'm kind of torn between the two, but for me, I'm like, it's her voice. Her voice is her voice is her voice. But because but the pre-records also mask what I understand, what I can understand of her voice in a through and through live situation. That is until I find the right performances. And because I think the lie that a lot of people have thought about Mariah Carey's voice is that it's just gone downhill. And I don't think that that is fair, and I don't think that's accurate either, especially when you have masterpieces like her last album, Caution. There's a lot there. And the reason why I've been tongue-tied, so to speak, in terms of creating was because I didn't know how people were going to react if I said anything negative about Mariah Carey's voice. And for me, I didn't want to find myself saying something negative, because I know what it's like for people to misunderstand my intention. In fact, that happened a lot with Beyonce's Voices Changing, even from part one. And because of that, it had me, trying to mince my words to make sure that I appeased everybody. And I realized that for my own expansion now, I have to be willing to be disliked if if that has to happen. Only because not everybody's going to like me. And, I know for my personality trait, that's something that has been a value for me, and I'm trying to shake that. But I'm, but I haven't necessarily lived up to that all the time. And so what would happen is, instead of me actually taking action, it would cause me to freeze. And so but right now I haven't been freezing on Mariah Carey. I have actually started, some work. And in fact, I did film a video of me going through, a thread I created on Twitter that actually, really helped me to get some information. And in fact, I would love for you guys to add to the conversation, because this is the great thing about what we're doing now. I realize that because there's so much information that I do not know, I'm gonna need you guys. And my and it's funny because I've been thinking about the community here, how we can be a little bit more interactive, and I realized that because I don't know everything, the beauty of the lack of knowledge that I have, I get to lean on you guys to help me to create to create a healthy understanding of whatever voice we're talking about, to create a sense of what's the word? Like a sense of celebration. And that's always been my thing with voices. I don't ever want to talk about somebody and just rip on them. I want people to be celebrated. And I want the celebration to be the triumphing factor, at least on this channel. I'm sure there's other people that like to rip on vocalists and whatever. I haven't really watched them, because I've been busy creating my own content. But here, I want the celebration of voices to encourage you to sing, right? So, so what it's gonna look like, at least for now, is I'm gonna start to reveal a little bit of what I've known already. So what that looks like is like there was a really miraculous thing that happened where I asked a question on Twitter about Mariah Carey's performances, and people have been responding. Like I said, there's a video where I'm just kind of going through those responses and creating a list of performances to watch that will eventually be some vocal talkthroughs. But I felt like I was so like my hands were tied in actually creating a video. So I decided, you know what, let's kind of do a podcast style video. Let's kind of tell you guys what's going on and just kind of appear here and tell you guys what I have planned for 2024. So that's really what it looks like for the year. I want to focus on 4 different vocalists. And here's the thing. I usually like to not announce things because I just rather would, want to follow through. But I realize in this case, I want to move forward, and also, this is something brand new. And I also think that that involving you guys in the process will be great. So if you are a part of that journey and you want to be a part of that journey, I want you to just comment below what you think, like in talking about Mariah Carey's voice. If you know people that are lambs that love Mariah Carey's voice, send them here. What do you want to hear talked about? What albums do you want to talk about? It's like I have a bunch of albums to listen to and a bunch of performances to watch. So you know what? Let me give you guys some specific questions for the comments. My first question would be, what Mariah Carey performances do you enjoy the most? And actually, I might even evolve the question here. Let's do a different question because like a lot of people answered that. My main question for you is, for those of you that are Mariah Carey fans, what do you guys feel about her vocal evolution? Do you enjoy her later music? Do you find yourself able to enjoy it? Do you feel and how do you feel about that? And also something that I've discovered, and it's gonna be a point in the next video, but it is that Mariah Carey has a special superpower in that, let's not call it a superpower, but she has a special circumstance where she is biracial. So the song that comes to me is "She's My Racial." Sorry. Oh gosh. Right? So the reason why I wanted to call it a superpower is because Mariah Carey, and I don't know if this is totally bad. I don't know. But Mariah Carey, being white presenting, allowed her to be somewhat of a Trojan horse for the music industry, because people expected, just this white girl to just be singing power ballads, which she did. But because of her black heritage, she loves hip hop, she loves, gospel. And so she was able to be like this Trojan horse in the music industry to bring in, a lot of black influenced music. And I find that there is actually a racial implication to the way that we consume Mariah Carey's voice and her music. And so if you agree with that, let's talk about it in the comments. I'm totally going to be, watching, the comments in a different way now, because, I want this to be interactive. And if you feel like you're a part of this journey, I wanted to kind of title the type of person that is going to be on this journey. I'm going to call us the Reclaimers. Right? So the reason why I want to call us Reclaimers is because, of course, this channel is called Reclaim Your Voice. And I want to even talk about, I want to expand this concept to more so reclaiming the voice, where we're reclaiming our own singing and using our voices to make change and be and these unforgettable musical experiences for the people that we know and love and want to serve. And then also we are reclaiming the way that the voice is spoken about, so that people that sing are given dignity and are given the flowers that they deserve, are given celebration, and so that if they were to watch these videos, they feel encouraged to go and to sing. I would want that, whatever artist we're talking about, I want to feel like we've reclaimed their own singing passion, because they probably go through a lot of stuff that we don't see. So if you're a reclaimer, get in these comments. Let's kind of talk and start this conversation about Mariah Carey. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay? Bye, everybody.